When did World War II begin? You might be thinking, September 1st, 1939. And yes, that's right. Remember that date. Keep studying. It's on your test. You've got this. But how true is that date? Obviously, September 1st, 1939 is the German invasion of Poland, the event that we remember as the beginning of World War II. But was there peace before World War II? Were pieces of World War II already in place? That is what we'll be examining today. We've already discussed how the interwar years were not exactly a period of global peace. We saw how the Habsburg Empire broke apart into various states, which for a while continued to fight wars against each other, notably in the case of the People's Republic of Hungary. We also saw the Russian Civil War, with its conflict spiraling out across most of Eastern Europe and into Central Asia and the Caucasus. We also saw the political instability in Germany and Italy. It's hard to characterize this period in Europe as peace. But by the mid to late 1920s, everything seems to have calmed down. So, what's the first event where we can draw a line of continuous war from that date to 1945? In 1931, Japanese soldiers would occupy the Chinese region of Manchuria, and this would lead to a major diplomatic crisis. Many in the Japanese military, such as Colonel Itagaki and Colonel Ishihara, thought that Manchuria would be a promised land for Japan, where Japan could expand and create a land of peace and opportunity for all of Asia. They were, however, prevented by expanding by the commands of the government. However, in Japan, there was a concept of gekoro, or honorable insubordination, and these two colonels decided that they were going to invade Manchuria anyway. So they planned the Mukden incident, where they would blow up a rail line in Manchuria and blame it on the Chinese in order to justify an invasion of Manchuria. The Japanese invasion of Manchuria was criticized by the League of Nations in 1932, and the League of Nations called for Japan to leave Manchuria, and instead Japan decided to leave the League of Nations. Another contender would emerge from Mussolini's attempts to expand Italy. In 1935, Benito Mussolini decided that it was in the best interest of fascist Italy to go to war, and they decided to invade the country of Ethiopia, which had previously humbled the Kingdom of Italy back in the 19th century. All the way back in 1919, Mussolini had expressed his desire for war to strengthen the Italian people. 13 years after coming to power, Mussolini decided it was time to put his words to the test, and called for an invasion of Ethiopia, then called Abyssinia. Italy already controlled much of the land surrounding Ethiopia, such as Eritrea and Somalia. Furthermore, Mussolini believed that he could make Britain and France remain neutral, thus completely isolating Ethiopia. This is because Britain and France were more concerned about Germany than Italy, and hoped that by allowing Mussolini to take Ethiopia, they could win Italy over to their side. In 1935, a border crisis broke out between Italian and Ethiopian forces. This was seen by Mussolini as the perfect opportunity, and he decided to begin his invasion. The Italian advance into Ethiopia was initially quite slow, due to poor terrain, as well as heroic resistance by the Ethiopians. The Ethiopians launched a Christmas counteroffensive in 1935, and this caused a halt in the Italian advance, and the Italians were only able to stop the counteroffensive through the use of chemical weapons. After defeating the Christmas offensive, the Italians would advance on to Addis Ababa, the capital of Ethiopia. However, they would never fully succeed in conquering Ethiopia, only controlling around 90% of it before the outbreak of World War II. So, the war in Ethiopia does have some of the hallmarks of the Second World War. It has an expansionist fascist regime attacking a neutral power using airplanes, tanks, and crimes against humanity. But is there another conflict in this period that embodies the full ideological components of World War II, with the clash of liberal democracy as well as socialist elements against an authoritarian fascist regime?